Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L and now let's talk some My Hero Academia. Today, specifically a topic about All Might. And good news, it doesn't matter if you're an anime viewer or a manga reader, this will not have any spoilers. If you've watched the anime, you're pretty much good to go. Heck, you don't even need to watch that much of it to understand what's going to be talked about here. Alright, so, title of the video, All Might's Secret Power. It's kind of hard to try and title this any other way without giving away what I'm thinking. But yeah, this is what we're going to be talking about. So there is something in Hero Academia that I've found strange ever since I've seen it. People on the Discord, they might be aware of it because I think I talked about it on one occasion, but that was so long ago, maybe you guys don't remember. And of course, yes, this Discord plug right there. But it's something that has officially been put to paper. It's not in the manga, it's in one of the supplementary materials. So before we get into the chunk of this video, very important for me to clarify. If you do not think that the supplementary materials such as the data book, if you think data books are useless, then the majority of this video is trash for you. It's not gonna work out if that's the fundamental idea you're going in with. And truthfully, that's a very fair fundamental idea to have. But if you totally discredit the data books, then the rest of the video loses its point. But if, let's say, for the conversation, for the sake of this particular video, we assume that the data books are telling the truth and that everything in there, or the majority of everything in there, is true, there is one little thing, or at least there is at least one thing that makes things strange when it comes to All Might's entry. So let's get into it. Like I said, this is all hinging on the data book. So the data book gives us our initial premise to launch off into building the evidence for this thing. Alright, so going and looking at the data book. The data book does something pretty cool. It gives us stats for the characters. You know, Izuku, Kirishima, they all have stats and they're given in this nice little format, ranked from I think E to S. S being, actually it's 1 to 5, and then A is 5 out of 5, and then 6 out of 5 is S. Okay, so that's the general idea of how it works. Alright, so there is one character, when you go into his stats, it's ridiculously high, and that is of course All Might. All Might is the most powerful guy in the world, right? So of course he has ridiculously high stats. We see that his stats, power, speed, technique, intelligence, cooperativeness, they're all S. They're all 6 out of 5. And that's pretty cool. Like, a lot of them make sense, except for one, the intelligence. All Might's intelligence is 6 out of 5. So this is why it first becomes an issue of whether or not you believe the data book. If you believe the data book, you would say, that's weird. If you don't believe the data book, if you think the data book is just propaganda, which would be an interesting way of using that data book if it's just propaganda for All Might. If you think it's propaganda, it means that 6 out of 5 is as useless as every other number given in the data book. So that's why if you don't believe the data book, there's no point going on with the video unless you just want to hear the rationales. Anyway, that 6 out of 5 by itself does not give us proper context. So for that, let's go look at other characters we know are smart, such as Bakugo. Bakugo is intelligent. This is a little known fact, but Bakugo actually does really well at school. Oh, there we go, 4 out of 5. Okay, so Bakugo's a B. Alright, interesting. Let's look at Izuku. We know that Izuku has some intelligence. We know that he has an interesting personality. We know that he does his little muttering thing. We know he's very good at writing things down. And we see, okay, 4 out of 5. Alright, so again, another intelligent character. One quick note though, I'm in the editing phase of the video and I just have to point this out. This is one of the reasons people are skeptical of data book stats pretty much. And it's, if you look at Izuku's power and speed, you'll see that it's 1 out of 5. And that doesn't make sense given the context of One for All. We know that's not the case. But there are a few things to be aware of here. First off, these were stats that were made up to chapter 88, I believe. And also these stats were reportedly recorded by the author himself. These are coming from the author. When I see this 1 out of 5, if you were to ask, well, how do we rationalize this, especially when you look back at Bakugo's, I think that 1 out of 5, if you take it in the context of it's relative only to Izuku's potential, then it becomes a little bit clearer. Because at chapter 88, this is roughly where I believe season 3 is going to start for My Hero Academia. If you imagine Izuku's power at that point with full cowl, he's got 5%. If it's relative to his own power, it makes sense. Let's step it up a bit. Let's go to someone that we definitely know is super smart. And we're gonna go for Hazume. And oh man, look at this, 5 out of 5 intelligence. Okay, makes sense. The girl that makes all these gadgets and devices, makes sense that she's 5 out of 5. So who else can we compare All Might to? Well, first off, like just looking at that, Hazume is super smart. So that means that All Might has a level of intelligence higher than the gadget whiz. Okay, that might not seem that incredible. Let's go look at the people who actually have S's so that we have a proper understanding of who All Might contends with. And one of those people is one of my personal favorites, but we'll leave her for last. We'll go look at the guy who made whose quirk is being smart. Nedzu. His quirk grants him superior intelligence that surpasses humans. And that's the quirk that lets him, as an animal, be the principal of the hero school. And when you look at his stat, it's 6 out of 5. S. Who else is comparable to that? Well, oh man, look, Momo. What? Momo? And then it's like, well, yeah, Momo is also a 6 out of 5 S. And Momo makes sense. Like, I have a whole video on why that makes sense for Momo. You can go watch the shortened version if you need to. But these two people are hyper intelligent, and All Might is their peer according to the data book numbers. That's ridiculous because it's All Might. So if we take that to be true, and that's the biggest if we take that to be true, what does that mean for All Might? And how does that work? There's no way that All Might is, by his own merits, that smart. I refuse to believe that. There's no way. I need an explanation that makes sense given what I know of the character and what we've seen so far in the story. And the biggest thing that I can think of comes back to One for All. What if it's just not the power of these people being stockpiled? What if there's something more? And luckily, that idea isn't false. We already have proof that directly confirms that there is something else that's being passed on with One for All, and we get that from the scene that Izuku fights Shinzo. Because in that scene, we see the ghost of the One for All user, or not the ghost, that gives him a bit too much sentience. Let's say the imprint of the One for All users. We see them in the hallway, and the best interpretation I have of that scene is that those ghosts are significant enough that they can cause a change in Izuku's body, that they can move a body part of Izuku. I think that in of itself justifies the idea that these things are more than just images of past selves. So when I look back to All Might's intelligence and I consider the fact that One for All doesn't just stockpile physical strength as evidenced by the ghost, I would make the first hypothesis: One for All stockpiles intelligence. How it does that, no idea. But what if it's a thing where the One for All users can talk with the imprint of the previous One for All users? We know that the imprints exist somewhere in Izuku's mind. Those imprints are with him. Those people that stand in the shadows are with him. Now it's a question of whether or not they're sentient enough for Izuku to be able to talk to them, or in this case, All Might to be able to talk to them. So what if this is the scenario? If after you get acquainted or accommodated with One for All, you get to this place where you can sort of speak with the mental imprints. Mind you, they're not fully fleshed people. I feel like it's something more limited. It's more like maybe you can ask them questions, but what it's ultimately answering back is a copy of the person's memories. Just pretty much the imprint can't tell you things it doesn't already know. Now, mind you, All Might does downplay it. He just says that they are something that cannot interfere with the current One for All user. But I feel if the author wanted to, he could make it so that All Might is lying. All Might did make it seem very ominous. When I think of it like that, I could see a very easy way to say that, okay, I can justify how All Might could have 6 out of 5 intelligence, how All Might can be comparable to Nedzu. If it comes down to the fact that All Might has effectively 7 generations of knowledge in him. And so far, that's the only thing that I really have to justify how All Might can be that smart, if this is true. If there's something else going on with the stockpile aspect of the One for All quirk. And now, you know, when I think of the grander scheme of things, when I think of Shonen Jump, and I think of Izuku, and I think of, if this is true, where could this power go? Like, the idea of Izuku being able to chat with previous One for All users, and from that, gaining more things, I think that would be amazing. I think that would be an excellent way to, like, keep developing his power. And the reason I want to touch on power development is because if we introduce this aspect, the imprints of the previous users being in Izuku's head somewhere, then it just opens up the doors for a lot of the things that Shonen Jump likes to do. Because, you know, eventually we're going to get to a point where Izuku's quirk is going to be pretty boring. Like, at the end of the day, All for One is a very boring quirk. That's why they have to make it so pretty with all the static and all the sparks going on around it whenever Izuku uses full cowl. It's a very boring quirk after a point because it's just super strength. What does Shonen Jump do with its main characters when it comes to making things fresh and exciting for a battle shonen? What do they do? It's very simple. They add in new forms and new techniques and new transformations. Naruto? Oh man, after a certain point, QB Chakra and then QB Chakra modes. Bleach? Oh boy, buddy. Bankai in general was a great boon for that series because now you had forms up the wazoo. One Piece, gears everywhere. We have a bunch of different forms for the main character. Black Clover, still a young series, but you know it's gonna get there. Maybe it's already gotten there. Medaka Box, oh, Medaka Box made a whole giant joke of it, but man, they had a lot of forms too. Assassination Classroom, kinda played with it, but it's not really a battle shonen, so it can get away with it. Toriko, oh man, Toriko, oh buddy, towards the end stages, yeah, you know there were different forms or new ways for Toriko to use his powers at the end. What my point is that Shonen Jump in particular, the magazine that publishes Hero Academia, has a precedent established when it comes to its supernatural battle shows to make the characters, as they go through their stories, they escalate the threats, and then to match that, to make it exciting, they give characters new forms or new power paradigms that they can make use of. Oh, how could I forget? Also, Dragon Ball. That's like the king of transformations right there. I think Bleach is really the king of transformations, but yeah, Dragon Ball as well. All those things considered, I see this as only a matter of time till something happens with Izuku. Something has to happen with Izuku because Shonen Jump, the way that they guide their series, there is no way that Izuku's not going to get some new form to go along with his One For All usage. But you know, when I consider this whole thing with One For All, and I consider, like, we know for sure One For All doesn't just pass on strength because of the presence of the imprints, but to what else could it pass on? And what does that mean for Izuku? What does it mean for Izuku to be able to talk or commune with the previous One For All users, even if it is just a memory of them? What does that mean for Izuku? I have a few ideas, but I'll leave that for another time. That will be in the next video. I'm breaking this video here. I have an idea for an Izuku video. This is the first part. If you enjoyed this talk, however, let me know down below. Like at the end of the day, this was just a very quick thing to point out, hey, All Might has 6 out of 5, and I think this is the reasoning for it, but otherwise it might just be the data book's wrong. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought down below. Let me know if you think there's any other explanation aside from the one that I kind of proposed here. And yeah, till next time, I hope you have a great day.